Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Wednesday, the 18th of Safar 1447, 13th of August 2025. Our Hazrat Wala is saying, Khaja Muhammad Masoom was the illustrious son of Hazrat Mujaddid Al-Faithani. His maktubat and the letters he wrote in answer to the queries of the seekers and the disciples are very, very effective. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to relate this to us. Once in a week, it was on a Thursday, we had to write ittila of our ahwal. We had to do that. That day was very, very difficult for us. First of all, for a person to speak about his spiritual state is something difficult on its own. But when you have to do that, then so many other things come with it. Nevertheless, Allah Ta'ala make it a najat for us. And Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala bless us with His pleasure, His rida and khushnudi. And Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to take us to task. Somebody would say, I didn't know what to write. He would go on to say, you're supposed to write that I don't know what to write. You should have written that. They were taken to task for all these things. So this year that you people have come and what you people are doing, this is also a very great farz kifaya. Don't look at it this way, that there's just a few people here. No. One person wrote a wonderful letter on one occasion, all about his ma'mulat and his practices and his readings. At the end, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib writes at the bottom of the letter there, Akhlaqiyat ka kya hal hai? You're telling me about a ma'mulat, but what about your character, etc.? Khoone dil peene ko, lakhte jigar khane ko, yahi ghiza milti hai jana teri diwane ko. You would have to undergo difficulty. You would have to tolerate and forbear. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib's initial stage was very, very difficult. There was poverty. There was no even thought about where the food will come from, etc. And when he said with Hazrat Tanvi as well, then Hazrat Tanvi was very, very strict with him in the matter of Islah. And his practice was after the Asr Salat, he would go out into the open, into the fields. So here, Hazrat Khaja Muhammad Masoom is saying in this particular letter that Sahifa Garami, your letter of love that you had sent has reached and it has brought much happiness. Thereafter, Khaja Muhammad Masoom is saying that in this way, continue writing about your halat. When you do this, then tawajjuh ghaibana ka zariya hai, that this will become a means of special attention coming on to you in absentia, even though you're not here. I've learnt much of what you have written about your halat and the sweetness that you are finding in your zikr and your enthusiasm, your thirst, etc. When you have put your foot in this path, then come into this path as a man. Mardana dar aao. Come in such a way, in that way. And come with the adab and the etiquettes of true thirst, quest and desire. Don't ever let the shariat slip out from your hands. Hold fast onto the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Stay away from innovation and the people of innovation. Connect your courage to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to be focused to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His grand court. This year, understand it to be a great ni'mat. And whatever is an obstacle in you achieving that, then run away very far from that. Stay steadfast on the love and the obedience of the Shaykh, because this is something that will help you in this path. Now, in the love and in the obedience of all of that there, whatever type of ijazat they have given you, practice accordingly. And this ijazat and this permission is given so that a few people can sit together and carry out the zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because in our tariq and our path, this is better as opposed to you sitting alone. When a few people sit together, then the fuyuz and the barakat from one starts rubbing off onto the other. Okay, so that letter had then come to an end, this particular letter. Now we continue. Our Hazrat Wala is saying that one nasihat is sufficient. We're speaking about the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today, where is their dhikr? Now, if even in this old age of minds, there is some type of deprivation of zikr, etc., then what to do and what to say, alas. So the person who is in charge also, he should also understand himself in this light that he is not perfect and he has not yet reached perfection. So this nizam is for one and all. So Allah Ta'ala in the true sense create genuine thirst and talab, enthusiasm for His nur and ma'rifat within us. And Allah Ta'ala make this path to Him for us easy. Ilahi maqsood man tuhi wa rizai tu muhabbat wa ma'rifat khud bideh. Oh Allah, my objective is only You and Your pleasure. Therefore, bless me with Your love and Your recognition. Allah Ta'ala bless us with that. So Allah Ta'ala put us on this path. It is a great ni'mat from His side. And to come here and to listen to His talks. In fact, we should make shukr to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And we should keep in mind all the adab and the necessary prerequisites, etiquettes that come with it. After that, our Hazrat Wala turns the kitab closed and then his eyes fall onto the back cover, which has an important article. That in one of the letters, the answer of that letter, it is written there, you have written about certain things that you wanted to achieve and you were unable to achieve, meaning of this dunya. Whatever Allah Ta'ala has done, there is good in that. In all your affairs and matters, hand over everything to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to achieve this type of dunyawi things, don't burn yourself out and do not undergo much difficulty in that. Remember well that our izzat is connected to iman and ma'rifat. belief in Allah and recognizing Him. It is not connected to mal and jah, wealth and honor. Make an effort for perfection in Iman, and so that you can climb higher and higher in the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make an effort in that. Now in this year, no matter how much of difficulty you undergo, that will be absolutely good for you. It has come in the hadith that that person who makes all his worry and grief, one grief, the grief of the akhirat, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove all his grief. Allah will remove all his grief. Now I am reading this year also, and I'm thinking to myself, our Hazrat Wala is saying, that is this in the heart, and what will happen? What is being mentioned here? Something very, very great. Ilahi maqsood man tu hi wa rizai tu muhabbat wa ma'rifat khud bideh. Akhir waqt hai, this is the last part of my life. Chalte chalate mil jaye. Even at this point, going this way and that way, if I get the nur and the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will be great. Otherwise, my entire stay here would be useless. First of all, to start off with, I ask you to make dua for me. I am making dua for you as well. You people's coming and going, all of this year is a means of gaining the ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All these pious predecessors walked this path, Mujaddid al-Fithani, etc. Allah ta'ala create thirst within us for His pleasure, that we must be so thirsty, enthusiastic, and looking for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala bless us with His pleasure. I'm making this dua for all those people that are connected to me, muta'alliqeen, all of them. Ilahi maqsood man tu hi wa rizai tu muhabbat wa ma'rifat khud bideh. Allah bless us with His compassion and His mercy. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-afwa wal-afiyah fi ad-din wad-dunya wal-akhirah. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Bi hurmati sayyidin nabiyyil kareem sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.